Reminder to our bowling fans that flash photography and the signing of autographs is strictly prohibited during competition. In addition, we ask that you silence your cell phones to prevent any distractions to the athletes. For any reason, and that we ask that you stay on that carpeted area. We ask that you do not live stream from your personal device. All right, bowling fans, pick out your favorite pro this morning. Cheer her on. Athletes, arrows are up. You have a full set of pins. All right, bowling fans, how about a great send-off for round 2 of match play at the QubicaAMF PWBA Players Championship. Good luck, ladies.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome along to Match Play Round 2 here at the 2019 QubicaAMF PWBA Players Championship from Buffalo Lanes North in Raleigh, North Carolina, right here on Bowl TV. I am Daniel Farish alongside Emil Williams Jr. We're set to bring you 12 games of match play action here. Already about halfway through Game 1, as you've been watching. Brianna Cote, Shannon Pluhowski, Ashley Galante, and Stephanie Johnson start off this morning on our featured pairs. As we have all week, 5 channels available. Every lane that is being used for match play is covered on one of those 5 channels. I'll go ahead and give you the hint in case you don't know. Best way to do it, open up multiple tabs. If you're on a desktop or laptop computer, open up multiple tabs. Mute the audio on the other 4. Keep ours up if you so choose to enjoy listening to myself and Emil. That way you don't miss 1 second of the action. Take a look at the standings after yesterday. Sherry Tan retook the lead from Shannon Pluhowski. Shannon jumped into the lead after the 6 games of qualifying yesterday morning. And then throughout the 6 games of match play yesterday afternoon, Sherry goes 4-2, shoots 1380 for those 6 games. She is plus 942. Shannon Pluhowski is second with a 3-3 match play record at plus 833, so 109 pins behind Sherry with 12 games to go today. Dasha Kovalova is in 3rd place, 150 behind Shannon. She also 3-3. Danielle McEwen, one of 2 players to go undefeated in match play yesterday, 6-0. She is only 39 pins behind Dasha. Danielle in 4th. And Birgit Perpler in 5th place with a 3-3 match play record at plus 558. So she is 86 pins behind Danielle. That is your top 5 right now as they stand. The top 5 after today's match play will advance to the live television stepladder finals on Sunday at 4 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. So be sure to tune in there. Just outside the TV show, Shannon O'Keefe in 6th place at plus 511, 47 pins behind Birgit. Sydney Brummett, the other player to go undefeated in match play yesterday, 6-0, plus 504. She jumped from 17th place up to 7th with those 6 wins yesterday, so an amazing performance from her. Check out her video on the PWBA Facebook page. Aaron Smith and Curtis Von Kruger caught up with her following match play yesterday. Talks to her about it. A name that Emil and I have talked a lot about throughout the week, Elise Bolton, up into 8th place. 4-2 yesterday. She's plus 486, just 18 pins behind Sydney. And then tied for 9th, Rocio Restrepo and Daria Payok at plus 484. Those 2 players only 2 pins behind Elise in 11th. Liz Johnson only 2 pins behind Rocio and Daria. Clara Guerrero in 12th, 5 pins behind Liz. Liz Culkin in 13th, 3 pins behind Clara. So that whole group right there between 6th place Shannon O'Keefe and 13th place Liz Culkin. Those 8 players only separated by 37 pins. So literally, winning 1 match could be the difference in a massive shuffle in the standings between those 8 players. From Liz Culkin in 13th, it is a 81 pin drop down to Brianna Cote in 14th, plus 393. 18 pins down from her, Missy Parkin in 15th. Missy, the owner of the lone 300 shot in the tournament. She rolled that yesterday morning. Game 3 of the 3rd qualifying block yesterday morning. 16th, Ashley Galante, plus 302, 73 pins behind Missy. And then Stephanie Johnson in 17th at plus 291. And Nicole Trudell in 18th at plus 259. And that is your standings heading into 12 more games of match play qualifying here at the QubicaAMF Players Championship. Good morning to everyone in the chat. Before I get to that, two very rare missed spares for Stephanie Johnson this game. Flagged a 2-pin combination in the second and then misses a 10-pin right there. So Stephanie and Olaf going to have a conversation. Anyway, good morning, Jennifer, Christopher, Aaron Smith. Good morning, sir, although I've seen you. Francis, Kurt, Bonnie, Rosalind, Michael, Brant, Tom, Crystal, Martha, John. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a great night. I know that Aaron Smith and I departed from the hotel yesterday evening to grab some dinner and watch the Bears game. In case you don't know, Aaron Smith, big Bears fan. And as you do know, Emil Williams, obviously a Bears fan. The Bears and Green Bay Packers put up a bit of a stinker last night. But the company I enjoyed with Aaron Smith was entertainment enough. Ashley Galante keeping us entertained with 7 of the first 8, following a split in the third. Good start for her. We'll say we do have some audio of some players coming up, and Ashley was one of the players that I spoke with before we started bowling. But I didn't, I caught her just about as she walked in the door and got to the pit area, so she wasn't quite awake yet. So I've opted to decline playing that interview, but I can say that I asked Ashley, you know, you made it through the PTQ at some of the elite events throughout the month of August, but your finishes in the main events, so to speak, 2 30th place finishes in a field of 32, so she wasn't able to capitalize on those performances in the PTQs, one of which in Louisville she won. I said, so how have you this week been able to capitalize on your shot making, or capitalize on this pattern and hone in on your shot making to not only make the cut, but be competitive this week? And she said, well, I really just put the last couple of weeks behind me and just focused on the future. She said, I gave away a couple games yesterday with some poor spare shooting, and I hit a couple of bad pairs. But overall, my ball motion's been pretty good, and I've just been taking what the lanes have been giving to me. And right now, this fresh 49-foot, 21-unit oil pattern is giving her a pretty decent motion early on here in game 1. Daria Payok did indeed have the front 8 to single pin in the 9th, stopped her in her tracks. She doesn't have the match wrapped up by any means, facing Dasha. Dasha, double, split, 6-bagger. Excuse me, 5-bagger from that point on. So Dasha can punch for 62, Daria 79. Dasha's shot in the 9th right here, flat 10. So that will extend Daria's lead just a little bit. Looking up and down the house, back and forth match between Sydney Brummett and Liz Johnson. Missy Parkin with a slight edge over Birgit Porpler to our left. Of course, our 2 matches right here. Shannon O'Keefe, or excuse me, Shannon Flahowski with a slim lead over Brianna Cote, and Ashley Galante with a sizable lead over Stephanie Johnson just to our right. Shannon O'Keefe with a mark lead over Nicole Trudell. Elise Bolton has thrown 4 in a row to take a lead over Clara Guerrero. Of course, we mentioned Daria and Dasha. Liz Culkin with a bunch of strikes against Rocio. And on the far end, Danielle McEwen, and Sherry Tan down on 35 and 36. Looks like Sherry Tan with a slight lead in that match. Ashley giving away at least 21 pins there on that 4 pin in the 10th. Knock her max score from 66 down to 45. Oh. Looked pretty good off Shannon's hand, but something about the ball motion towards the end of that pattern. That urethane ball just jerked the break point. Well, jerked it for a urethane ball, leaving her a 6-8. Match between Elise Bolton and Clara Guerrero. Clara can punch for 26, Elise for 47. Elise up first in the 10th, down on lane 29. And a pocket 7-10 for Elise. 9 spare strike from Elise would have forced Clara to punch to tie. But now with this 7-10, Clara just needs the first strike in the 10th to get the match win and the 30 bonus pins, as I mentioned. Clara down in 12th, one of those 8 players within 37 pins of one another. Elise in 8th, another one of those 8 players. So while Elise is 4 spots ahead of Clara, she's only 9 pins ahead of her in the standings. I'd like to welcome to the booth for the first time, welcome to the air for the first time this morning, Emil Williams Jr. E, how you doing, sir?
I'm breathing in the air.
All right.
Of a horrendous Bears loss.
I did touch on that a little bit.
I heard you say it.
That was nice about it.
Do you know what? Maybe it's, I don't know. I want to blame Bowl TV. But the last 2 Bears games that I've witnessed, I've been working, live streaming the egregious playoff game.
on the way here to the bowl this morning, Aaron Smith filled me in on team trials that year.
We have been,
yeah.
We both of us, ironically, have been together for the last 2 Bears games. Of course, the playoff game, we were at team trials in January, and of course last night. Can't get away from it. But good morning to all. I'm going to scroll up real quick because Daniel probably already said, I know he said hello. So I'm going to say hello to Jennifer and Christopher. I would assume Ashley's mom. Hi, Miss Galante. Aunt Fran. Aunt Fran is watching from Tucson. That's Bree's aunt. I told her that I would tell you hello, Aunt Fran. Kurt, Bonnie, Rosalind, Michael. Michael Savage and Michael Stromley, by the way. Brant, Tom, hi Crystal, Jennifer, hey Nana Martha. We got Bree's aunt and grandmother watching her here on Bowl TV, and she can get herself a win. How about that? Don't need a strike here. A double. If I'm, am I looking at that right, Jaden Bears?
She can, yes, double and 4.
That's 1. Bowling against a longtime friend and spent some time together in Arizona, obviously. A lot of people don't know Shannon Puhalski originally is from Phoenix. John Goodman. That's a great name, of course.
Yes, it is.
Charlene. John Stites, Brenda, Thomas Casey. Hi, Tiff. Derek, Amanda, and Richard. Oh, Richard. We were on the same page until you mentioned the word Cubs. All right, Cote, one more. Get an early victory. It's left. Well, still not out of the trouble as of yet. She could have solidified the win and shut out Shannon. Of course, now Puhalski. What she did do. was for Shannon to do the same thing. Hey, Nate. And hey, Jasmine. Rebecca. I want to give a shout out to Jasmine. She bought Trey a really, really dope book. That was actually one of our things, baby shower and stuff, was to have people bring a book or buy a book. You didn't have to buy a gift, buy a book, bring a book, etc. That we appreciate her. Well, that was one that Shannon needed. She needed a double. And some change. And Cote will get a win here. Four more hours at work for Gabrielle. I hope I'm saying that right, too. Gabrielle, they've been in the chat several times on Bowl TV supporting. Thanks to everyone. Oh, Rebecca. Oh.
Go Packers.
It just won't end. It just won't end.
Well, seeing that shirt hurts me equally as well because I'm a Vikings fan.
So Katie Thornton, who is the head coach of SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, also bowls on tour when she can. Went to Weber. She was here, and yesterday, didn't expect to see her. It's always great to see her. And then we were just talking, and I mentioned, oh yeah, go see the game, and then it hit me that I realized or remembered she was a Packers fan. So instantly, I get in my trash talking mode. And so we kind of go back and forth a little bit. And so we put a friendly wager on last night's game. We had plans to go watch the game as a group, but the weather had some other plans.
It did.
And of course, so suddenly now I'm in the hole. And I need to make good on my wager. I always make good on my wager, so it's all good. But she came in boastfully wearing this Packers shirt. And it's horrendous. I'm gonna post it on social media, so all of you, that should have been the bet. We'll do that next time.
Okay.
We'll wear each other's, shirt colors, whatever. All right, folks.
I would love to see you in a Packers jersey, by the way, or a Packers shirt.
That would be. That's a huge deal right there. But I can't send the wrong message to my son, so I don't know how I feel about this yet.
You already have a Cubs W flying in the front yard.
That's true. You're right. All right, folks, game 2 is underway. Ashley Galante, Nicole Trudell, Missy Parkin, and Sherry Tan here on the featured pairs. Good shot there for Galante. Again, players that have stood out to me, and we've touched on it. We talk about familiar names, faces, and the players that have their names often mentioned and whatever. Generally they've earned the right because of their performance on tour, but that doesn't mean that there are other players who we often see putting in the work and suffering, some minor setbacks and trying to get over that hump. And Ashley and I have had several talks about that, and good to see her kind of busting through here late in the season. Making some cuts here in August and, of course, at the final major. Speaking of majors, talked to Nicole Trudell a little bit this morning. And she bowled a limited schedule this year. Wasn't clear to bowl until early February, I believe she said. But she had to get at least one major. So she bowled Hartford, did not advance through the PTQ, and said she had to bowl at least one major this season, and made the trip out here, and certainly made it worth her while. Hey, Patricia. Yeah, I know. Patricia or my man Trev. The old 6 off the 10 chop from Missy Park in here early game 2. I can't not agree with you. Anyone has said about about the Bears and the Packers game last night. You know, and I'll leave the football convo alone for a little bit. But I mean, to me, it was not saying that players need to bowl or need to play, 4 preseason games. But I think it was kind of clear that, minimal reps of live game speed, of live game action, just minimal reps in the preseason were necessary based on what we saw last night. So it could have been the prototypical as it had been. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get all of the starters to play a half of football in preseason game number 3. That based on last night, that seemed like it probably still should have happened.
Well, that's kind of what your boy Michael Wilbaum was saying on Twitter last night. He said this loss goes on Nagy not just because he's the coach, but because of how he handled the preseason and his decisions in the last month.
I can't fault him though for that.
You don't think so?
No, and because he's the coach, and so based on what we kind of learned from Matt last year, I think, he's not afraid to kind of do it his own way, and I respect that. From an injury perspective, that's what you're always really looking for and try to avoid. So I understand it, but like anything else, and I can't imagine what it's like to, play at full speed at the NFL level. There's only so long you can have practice. If you watched any media prior to the game, just in regards to media clips, highlights, whatever, everyone talked about how they couldn't wait to hit someone else other than their teammate. So, which is totally understandable, and you can kind of get that out the way in the preseason a little bit. You can, breathe easy, if you will. Go over the playbook. You can script plays, from first quarter to fourth quarter if you want to. They're going to script 10 to 15 plays at the beginning of the game anyway.
Right.
So, that's neither here nor there. Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Sounds like a podcast I should do. I was ready to keep going about this thing.
Well, Sherry Tan is continuing the script of being the tournament leader.
Isn't she?
Here in Raleigh, North Carolina. 239 first game with a win. Shannon Blahowski with a 192 loss extends Sherry Tan's lead almost to 200 pins. A 186 pin lead for Sherry Tan. She's plus 1,011. Shannon Blahowski plus 825. Dasha remains third, plus 708. Danielle fourth, 669. Shannon O'Keefe jumps up into fifth with a 248 win at plus 589. Daria Payok is in sixth with a 267 win at plus 581. Birgit Poplar is seventh at plus 566. Liz Colkin eighth, 547. Liz Johnson ninth, 546. And Clara 10th at 533. Sydney Brummett did take her first loss of the tournament, as did Danielle McEwen. So no one is left undefeated. Sydney fell from 7th to 11th with that loss. Well, this is what I was talking about right before you hopped on air. Coming into game one, between 6th and 13th, we had 8 players separated by 37 pins.
Yep. That's like a block after junior gold.
Yeah.
You know, but of course, at, you know, junior gold, you could go from, you know, 200th to 65th in comparison. One game. What did she shoot that game?
Who?
Sydney.
205.
205. Man. John, yeah, I know, Aaron. I'm sorry. Well, I'll express these things later. We didn't really get a full chance to unwind after a Bears loss like we normally would.
To give you an idea about those standings, before game 1, Sydney, Elise, and Rocio were 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
They all
won.
took losses.
Oh.
After those losses, they went from 7, 8, 9 to 11, 12, 13. And it just, I mean, just like that.
There you go. Yeah, this one's going to go. This one's going to go, I think, all the way through. Meaning, I don't think it's going to be set until. Yeah, and that even goes for the top 2 players right now. You know, because they could be battling for the top seed for a good while. I know that, you know, Sherry Tan has created a little separation at this point. But, you know, we know what Shannon's capable of. We saw what, you know, she can do on this pattern this week already.
Yep.
Have to keep that in mind. You know, Dasha, again, just being Dasha right now. You know, hate to use the word quietly. We've said it a little bit. Certainly not flying under the radar by any means. But right there in 3rd place. And if you look up, all of a sudden it could be Dasha, you know, making a move up for the, you know, 2nd top seed, depending on how things shake out. DMAC is right there. You expect her to be around that number all the time, as would be Shannon O'Keefe. You need to start looking at Daria Payet, that is. And plus 581. And as Daniel mentioned, then Birgit, then Liz Culkin, then Liz Johnson, then Clara, Sydney. So it's going to be a while before we get this thing all shaken out. And, you know, that's great. That's good. It's a major. 3rd major of the season. A lot on the line still. We still got, you know, players who still are looking for spots in the Tour Championship, and, you know, their finishes will determine whether they make it or not.
I mean, right now there's only really 2 players I would say. I would comfortably say are a lock for TV, and that's Sherry and Shannon. Everything else, in my opinion, is up for grabs. I mean, even Dasha at 708. In this format, she's 170 ahead of 10th. I mean, those pins, a couple bad games by Dasha, a couple great games by the players below her. I mean, that could shuffle pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be, just me personally, I'm not willing to go so far ahead yet on the top 2 seeds, simply because of just what I have seen in my time on tour, especially in match play. It's unlikely, you know, but, you know, we've seen some crazier things. The only thing that would keep that from happening, or at least in the scenario I'm presenting in regards to, you know, the top 2 seeds kind of really coming back to the field, would be there's not enough, you know, we're not bowling 24 games of match play, only 18, so, you know, that scenario may not actually present itself. But as long as they bowl decent to solid and limit any bad games, just like a, you know, a normal round, right, that they should remain on track to certainly be on television.
Yeah, that without them having a lot of traffic over there, again, that is in their favor.
Trudell, excellent shot. This is the pair that she finished on at the end of qualifying, where she shot 242 to make match play. Qualified 18th, right here on 23 and 24. Even to the point of, you know, again, bowling decent, solid to good, you know, obviously it would help them to win matches. But even if they don't happen to win, that many today. Good games will help them because of their position.
Oh, and kind of going back to more notably Sherry, we watched her struggle a little bit yesterday morning. She actually lost. You know, we were talking, oh, Sherry's got this insurmountable lead, or you know, that seemed to be the vibe that was rolling throughout the Bowl TV chat, and even in our conversations with people. And then all of a sudden, Shannon catches her. Shannon goes plus 306 in 6 games and catches Sherry, and Sherry hit some bad pairs that morning block. But then Sherry was able to turn it around yesterday in the first round of match play and take the lead back. And those were a couple of things we talked about earlier this morning.
I think for yesterday morning, there were a few pairs that were rather tough. So my usual ball didn't really work, and I kept with the ball. But for the second block, I tried out my urethane option, so I think that's where I found a little bit better shape with it.
Is that something you tried because you knew that Shannon's been throwing urethane?
Yeah, I did.
So what's your plan for today?
But I'll try out what I did for day one, and I'll try my urethane. So I'll see which one has a better shape, and I'll just play off what the lane tells me to.
Good follow-up question. Excellent work.
Yeah, once she said urethane, I was like, oh. And I mean, it's sometimes in this sport, it's monkey see, monkey do. And if you're struggling, you look around and go, okay, you know, what are all the people around me doing? What are the successful people around me doing? And in Sherry's case or in Shannon's case, they only have each other to judge off of. It's what Shannon talked about a couple days ago. Before this stop here, she's had no one to look to see if she's playing the right area of the lane, the wrong area of the lane, equipment, etc.
Well, I tell you, we've been talking about the top of the leaderboard right now, and rightfully so. But I'm looking at Ashley Galante right now, and she shot 242 game 1 today and got the win. You know, depending on what happens here, now she finishes out this game. It's early, just a couple games. She's 215 pins back. But at this is the round where you just kind of start chopping, right?
Yep.
Just chopping the tree down. You know, the old tree in the backyard. You know, that's really had its day. It's been zapped by lightning a little bit. It looks a little rough. You say, man, it could fall on the car. We got to let it go. You start chopping, and get to game 5 or game 6, the round's over, and all of a sudden, maybe the deficit's 90, 100. That looks a little bit more feasible in 6 games. Who knows?
And if you're Ashley and you keep winning matches, let's say you go 3-1 your first 4 games this morning, I don't think you look at the standings because you don't want to. Maybe you look at them now. You're 215 back. You don't want to go 2-1 your next couple of matches. Maybe you win a couple of those matches with 230s, you lose it with a 2-teen, and you look up and you're 130 out. And the mindset is, gosh, I've bowled so well, and I'm still 130 out. When the reality is, you just picked up 80 pins in 3 games. So you're right. You've one bite at a time, one chop at a time. You can't look at the standings, can't chase scores when you're that far down. Just win matches and take a look after game 6.
Guys, I don't have any, I don't think I have any, true dad jokes yet. I feel like I tried one. Great shot there for Trudell in Hartford.
You weren't a dad yet.
Correct. And I was practicing. I thought it was funny. I don't think everyone else did. I don't even remember what I said. Here's Tan. Although that doesn't look to be urethane early on the fresh. Could just be me. I'll take a look at the ball return here. Galante stepping up in the 8th frame. Yeah, I know Nicole Trudell is 303 pins back. Steph is 322 back. I mean, even for them, too, I would still utilize this round. Obviously, if all goes well and, you know, good ball reaction, etc. Just to the mentality of the one chop at a time, you know, the one shot at a time, cliche stuff we talk about. But, you know, let's, hey, see what happens. You never know.
Well, I can tell you from very recent personal experience going back to the finals of the Kentucky Open back in Louisville. It's a bunch of qualifying on different patterns in different houses, culminating in 14 games of round-robin match play on Sunday. And I was the 2 seed, like 10 pins behind Graham Fa going into Sunday. And I come out the gate and go 150, 150. Just terrible ball selection, terrible shot making, and the first half of the day was awful. And after the first 7 games, I was like 240 out of the lead, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to be concerned myself with chasing down the leaders. I'm just going to try and make up as many spots as possible. And that's kind of what you got to do in this situation. Don't focus on the leaders. Just go, okay, I'm in 11th. I'm in 12th.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly,
make up as many pins as possible.
You couldn't have said it better. If you're not in the lead, if you're not close to the lead, like if you're not Sherry or Shannon, and maybe even Dasha to an extent at this moment, your focus is obviously 5th place. And I'm saying that to say, of course you'd like to improve your seeding, but you're trying to make the show.
Yes.
You cannot win the title unless you're on TV in the top 5. Shot coming up here for Galante. Ugh.
A note in the chat, I'm guessing you said from Ashley's mom, says Ashley never looks at the standings.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Mom. I'll tell you what, that will serve her well. And it's obviously served her well to even get to just this fashion from a career perspective. But from what we've been talking about and the start that she's had, you know, going about your business is the best thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Trudell's going to make it tough for her to get a win, though. Right now, we could have a situation where well, prior to that, we could have had a situation where Trudell could have struck out for 235, which would have forced Galante to get all 3 in the 10th to win. Now we'll wait and see how Trudell will finish, as Nicole will finish the match and now can shut out Ashley Galante. Macy Parkin doubles in frames 8 and 9. And she's got a max of 237. Sherry Tan can get to 238 max scores. Possibility of a tie potentially in this match here on 25 and 26.
Oh, get the 7 out.
Okay. Possibility of a tie now.
Yeah.
On 23 and 24 as well. That's a good note from Brian there. Talking about his own personal experience with standings and climbing and taking the hits as they come, so to speak, and sometimes you give them back and show those pins who's boss.
In a situation like that, once you get done, you wish you could have looked to the tournament director and said, "Hey, can I just stay 8th and not bowl? just not get up in the morning." Possible tie right here.
Dasha Kovalova is complete. I didn't see what Dasha's score was, but we'll find out here momentarily. So, let's see. Strike here, and Sherry will get herself a win with some change. And now the possibility of a tie is upon us. Well, the count there, well, just that shot in general. Galante back in the driver's seat on 23 and 24. love to double just for the sake of adding as many pins as possible. If you're going to win the match, certainly.
Big spare for Sherry Tan. All right, converts it, no problem.
How about that? Nice job, Brian. Look out. Look out. Look out. Well,
winner, winner, chicken dinner for Ashley Galante here in game 2.
That's a win and maybe a little sigh of relief here for Galante, so she can just kind of throw everything else that just happened out, and she was going to do that anyway, you know, because that's what we do at this level. But now it's about trying to make 3 good shots and get all you can to go with this 30 bonus pins. And now Missy Parkin with the first one in the 10th. So folks were commenting on where Missy was standing on the approach. We got a bit of an angle. We're more on the left of where Missy is right now. But it sounds like Missy, my guess is based on what they were saying, maybe she was so far right, making sure she can get the right angle right to left, not trying to give the ball or get the ball right at any stretch. Sure enough. Bang. Wow. Well, I don't think we've seen anyone really play there since the first round of qualifying, at least to give it an attempt. And certainly perhaps not have the results that Missy is having right now. Sometimes you got to pull out the tricks in match play. Missy's so good. Not only at keeping her angle straight, playing up the boards, and still get left. This is for the tie, for 15 bonus pins. Anything less, and Sherry Tan will get 30 bonus pins and a win. Excellent work there. Wow. To play where she's playing. And to throw the back 5 for the tie. Excellent work. As you were right off, had the headset off briefly, Daniel was talking about, I don't think we've seen anyone play where Missy is playing since round 1 of qualifying.
Not with any success.
And right, especially not with the success that Missy is having.
Yes.
And I said, well, you got to do what you got to do in match play, whatever works, whatever feels comfortable for you. It's interesting. That right there just really shows you how good players are out here. To be able to do that, like every player, and I know everyone has it because I've felt this way before. Every player has that one thing where they know they can they can do something that perhaps maybe other players can't at a particular time. And everyone looks around like, man, how is this person doing that? Where, and theoretically, based on whatever's out there, shouldn't be able to do it. Right? Everyone has that thing. I'm not saying that this is Missy's thing, but clearly, and maybe other people would, if they wanted to try it, maybe they would have the same success that she's had.
So what's your thing?
Well, used to be something like that.
Okay.
Similar, very similar. When I was, as you've known me for a little bit,
Uh-huh.
I thoroughly enjoyed playing the gutter, playing
Yes.
the outside part of the lane when I was very good at it at one point. And there were times where, trying to call a couple of collegiate events. It looks like to our right, Sydney Brummett can, and just did,
Yes.
defeat her roommate, Brianna Cote, over on 27 and 28 by throwing the first strike in the 10th frame.
And Daria did the same thing to Danielle just to our left. Daria threw the first shot in the 10th to capture the win over Danielle. 195 to Danielle's going to be in the 160s. But
Yeah, I'm trying to remember one collegiate event. I don't remember where it was. Might have been like the orange and black.
Okay.
And I just remember just being able to play, right in a time where, the pattern suggested as a team that we shouldn't be playing there. But because I was so good at it and I knew if I've got any look, in my opinion, right, if I know what I'm doing and can, if it's coming off my hand properly, despite what people say and what the lane pattern dictates, I know I can play there. And I was doing it, and so it just kind of brought me back to that moment where I'm like, no one else is really doing that, but Missy just made it look like that's where you should be playing every game of this tournament. I mean, the execution. First of all, to execute, that's what people have been saying in the chat.
In the out of bounds, basically.
We saw a few balls in the channel, not from Missy, but just from players in general who were trying to play out there. But I mean, and then they need them all for a tie.
Yeah, that's the clutch part right there. That's the ice water in your veins. But we knew that from her shooting 3 yesterday morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian said some picks, and we haven't seen every player, obviously. So it looks like more players perhaps maybe playing out today, and that's totally okay. But it won't get me off what Missy just did. That was just different. That was just different. But someone's probably going to say, you know what? I heard him say that, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make it look just as good, if not better.
Let's see, the orange and black, your senior year, you averaged 210 for the tournament.
That was like every other game.
Finished 13th.
Every other game. Right, if you click on that. I don't know. I don't think they give scores.
It doesn't give
right,
game by game, no.
That was every other game. I'd shoot like 220, 230, 170, 180. 220, 230, 170, 180. I was solid the first part of that year.
13th place finish that day wasn't too bad. It was second best in the booth.
Okay. Oh, you beat me that day.
That was 10th.
This guy. Well, I've been chasing this dude up the standards for a long time.
Council actually won that tournament.
How about that?
Yeah. Dole was 6th as well. Sorry, we're delving back into some
Yeah.
Lindenwood bowlers, y'all.
Well, I know we dominated that event.
Yeah.
I think we won.
It sounds better if we say we won.
Yeah, we probably did. But anyway. Let's start there for Puhalski. What game is this? This game 3?
Yeah, already. Boom, boom, boom.
Game 3 in the building. Uh-oh. All right, early open frame for Liz Culkin.
All this talk about the Player of the Year points and the race and all that, we did have an official announcement this morning that was made. Valerie Bercier, our 2019 PWBA Rookie of the Year.
Congratulations to Val. Really, really excellent season. Obviously, she's disappointed that it will not continue into the Tour Championship, but if there is to be a what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't want to say, well, maybe silver lining. I don't want to say consolation prize, but
Silver lining.
yeah.
But this was a goal.
Because she was in contention this weekend, not just for Rookie of the Year, but also to make the cut in the tournament and, as you mentioned, Richmond for the Tour Finals, Tour Championships. So
that is still that's an honor that there's only one Rookie of the Year every year, and we had a really good rookie class. We talked about it. The one person that I was missing when I talked about it a little bit yesterday was Caroline Lagrange, also from Canada. Both of those players, actually, Valerie and Caroline, really started the season well. I know Caroline missed a couple of events in the middle of the season. But throw in Julia Bond and Gigi Mason. So, those are proved to be obviously a really, really, really stout class of and a mix of youth, and I'm speaking of age here because Valerie, Caroline, a little bit older just in comparison to Julia and Jasmine, but all rookies, all making their way, kind of first years as full-time members. And so congrats to Valerie. Excellent person. It's been really great getting to know her over the course of the season. Knew she was, at any point in time, especially since the first time we saw her bowl on tour. She bowled the U.S. Women's Open, of course, a couple years ago, made the show. And at that moment, it's like, well, if she ever decides or can bowl more of a full-time schedule, she's going to be a force. And certainly had an excellent season. Congratulations to her. I know if Brian McLean, he hasn't popped in the chat, I don't think, but I know he was very happy about that, bringing that honor to back to Canada. I think one of the coolest things I've seen, and by the way, folks, we do plan to have Valerie in the booth for Game 6 today. So she is the alternate. I mentioned that yesterday. She is the alternate for match play. So if there were to be any reason a player would feel the need to withdraw, Valerie will then go into the event. So she's the alternate. She helps keep scores for the first 5 games, and then Kathy handles the rest as the players turn in their score sheets after Game 6. So we'll have Val on in Game 6. Well, I'll say what I was going to say about Valerie.
Well, then I will jump in.
For that game.
After Game 2 this morning, Sherry Tan still your leader, plus 1063. Shannon Pluhowski, plus 904. Dasha Kovalova, 712. Danielle McEwen, 634. Birgit Porpler, 625. That is your cut for TV, 625. Shannon O'Keefe, 623. Daria Payok, 606. Liz Culkin, 601. Rocio Restrepo, 561. Liz Johnson in 10th at 556. And then you have Sydney Brummett, Missy Parkin, Clara, Elise, Ashley, and then Brianna, Stephanie Johnson, and Nicole Trudell. Great shot there by Elise Bolton. Trying to keep the pressure on Pluhowski as they enter the midpoint of this third game this morning. In a way, right now, Stephanie Johnson, looking at the points, is bowling for her season. If she were to finish 18th, she would stay ahead of Tanya Rumaper in the standings. But in the event that, let's say, Sherry Tan wins this tournament and Birgit finishes second, both of them, Sherry would make the show, would make Richmond based on the win, and Birgit would then jump Stephanie in the standings because that would knock the line up one spot. So Stephanie needs to find a way to gain a few spots in the standings, and improve. Brianna Cote is the same. Brianna, with finishes of 17th or 18th, could fall below Tanya Rumaper in the standings and the points. So still a few players out here who may be too far away to consider a number 1 seed, and we talked about, need to start chopping that tree if they want to look at TV, but they're also looking at the waters rising below them in the points.
Yeah, it's an active scene, if you will. it's a very much a live document.
Yes.
You know, anything you've worked on or in the process of working on, and you send it to someone else, and it's a, you know, I say it's a live, living, breathing document. This is exactly what the Tour Championship point situation is. Like literally, I mean, honestly, it literally does change per game, but we can't keep up with that. So, you know, we let you know per round, but.
And we could delve into this a little bit later, maybe we get into the afternoon, but even the Player of the Year race and the seedings for the tournament championship bracket, the Tour Championship bracket.
Yeah, the bracket, I think, is something that kind of goes under the radar. And, you know, it's a bracket, and who you bowl is who you bowl, right? But we know that the top 2 seeds get automatically seeded into the show. Then seeds 3 and 4, and this is from the points perspective. This is straight from the points. 3 and 4 get a first round bye, and so they basically start the event in the what's that? The
second round. So yeah, round of 8.
It's not quite the quarters. So let's say they get a first round bye. You know, so it's, you know, depending on how you like to go about your business, you know. You may be someone who would enjoy taking a day off and not bowling. You know, especially after this week, you know, there'll be a week in between. But, you know, you can come out, relax a little bit, watch bowling. That's what those who had buys and whatnot last year, everyone still comes out to watch because you're just not going to not go to the lanes and take some notes and watch out what's happening.
I like to go about my business in winning in having to go through as few people as possible in that situation to win a title.
Sure. As Aaron mentioned though yesterday, and I hope I'm not spoiling his trivia questions.
Oh.
So I'll just wait so to make sure I won't spoil it. Galante continuing to perform well, clean through 5 over on 27 and 28. Stephanie Johnson, as Daniel mentioned, a lot on the line here. Off to a good start, Liz Colkin. On to a good start as well, Shannon O'Keefe, double 9 spare 3-bagger, down on 19 and 20. That's a big match there, facing Sherry Tan.
And Shannon, yeah. Shannon up 20 right now on Sherry.
Let's go. If you are just joining us, this is game 3 of 6 here this morning. Had a delayed start. It was discussed last night between the tournament director and the hosts. And based on some information received and weather reports for safety purposes, it was suggested and recommended that we push the time up a little bit today. So we moved the start time from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time today. And subsequently, this afternoon's round will begin at 2 p.m. Question in the, or excuse me, totally, or trivia question, I beg your pardon. What's the highest seed to win the Tour Championship? And I'm very, very proud of myself for not going into the information that I was going to go into. It potentially would have destroyed this trivia question. Actually, then, to be honest, the answer is kind of leaving me right now.
Did she take the 6 out of that? She did not. Okay.
Liz's issues have been on this lane from a split perspective. She's got 2 of them. Both have been on lane 24. So we'll begin the afternoon round at 2 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Similar to yesterday. Okay, I was right. The highest seed of the Tour Championship of the winners is 5. Because if you were listening to us yesterday, we let you know that no number 1 seed has ever won the Tour Championship. Sherry Tan with a 3-bagger. She can max out at 259. Shannon O'Keefe can max at 258. So another situation that could be a 1-pin match. We could see a tie potentially over there too. Shannon O'Keefe is going to finish the match. Sherry Tan stepping up in the 9th. So basically, if Sherry strikes here, Shannon can throw strikes in frames 9 and 10 and force Sherry to step up and throw all 3 in the 10th for a win. That one's on 19 and 20 if you want to check it out. I'll certainly keep you posted. Big game here for Puhalski. And so for Shannon, you know, and again, we've been talking about it, a nice sizable lead right now, or I should say pin distance between 2nd and 3rd, Puhalski and Kovalova. And Shannon is going 192. We saw that early on in game 1. 249 got the win. And now, 2 strikes here in the 10th frame. She'll be in the 270s. And will also get the win versus Elise Bolton.
Here's the second half of that trivia question. Who was that number 5 seed to win the Tour Championship? Shannon O'Keefe in 17, Danielle McEwen in 15, New Finn in 16, or both Shannon O'Keefe and Danielle McEwen in their respective years?
You know, as a 6-pin there for Puhalski. 2015 is the only season that I don't have the most knowledge of because I wasn't out on tour. So whenever we start talking about 2015, I always got to confirm and go look up stuff. So I got to say I'm not quite sure. I feel like it's not New Finn. I'm going to say Shannon O'Keefe. It's probably New Finn. No, it's not New Finn. Not New.
You got to make up your mind, bro.
I'm going Shannon.
Okay.
Oh!
Both of them.
I was half right. Nicely done, Aaron. I should have treated that like the SAT, the ACT. Oh, they throw a trick in there? That's the answer.
Well, as you mentioned, this right lane has been tricking Liz Culkin so far this game. She's started it off pretty strong. 243, 224, both wins, which are vast improvements from her performance in match play yesterday. And that's something that we talked about early this morning when I asked her, what can you do to improve on match play from yesterday when your highest game was 218?
I gotta hope that they're not like they were last night. I think a lot yesterday. They were probably the tightest they've been the entire tournament, which obviously has a lot to do with there's a lot less bowlers. I think a little bit strip and re-oil, obviously. I was just having a really hard time finding the right ball motion through the mid part of the lane. Really didn't strike very much, which hasn't been an issue for me this entire tournament. So I have a new mindset today. I think they'll be a little bit better this morning, hoping to catch some good pairs. get some W's, because I know that's really important to get those bonus pins in these types of formats. So it's a new day, and looking forward to making a better one.
So despite this game, she has put forth a better effort and had a better performance through 2 games this morning. Again, 224, 243, both wins. So ran into a bit of a buzzsaw here with Stephanie Johnson's striking 7 of the first 8, and Liz having 2 splits on that right lane in the first 7 frames. But she can double the 10th here, get a plus game, even in a losing effort. It will help her. No matter what, you always want to go plus. Good shot. She's going to get the plus number. Rocking the Nebraska N on her jersey. As most of you know, former collegiate standout at the University of Nebraska. Shannon O'Keefe finished with 246. Sherry Tan can go strike 9 spare in the 10th for 248. Sherry's first shot here. Gets the 7 to fall late.
I'd have to do some math, though, just to confirm in my head, but I saw Don's question in the chat. And I'm basing it on who's asking the question, which would lead me to the answer I would select. By the way, that Liz Colkin piece we did back in Nebraska at the Lincoln Open, and she gave us the tour of the Nebraska facility. I still think that's one of the, I don't know, for me personally, the top 5 things we've done this year so far. I would encourage everyone, if you haven't checked it out, just give it a good look, especially with Bill has retired now, so it might actually have a different feel to it now with the announcement of Bill Straub's retirement. And I'll never forget have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay, so there's this device that Bill and the staff there created specifically for Liz Colkin to cut down on her drift. She drifted forgot the range of boards when she first got to Nebraska. And we almost missed it because that was right at the end of the tour.
Yeah.
And he brings us around, and we're kind of coming up the. They've got 4 lanes on campus, so we basically kind of started lane 4, kind of went around, and I think they had some lockers and stuff where the players kept their equipment. Right, we go down, back to the machines, through the back, and then around to lane 1. And right as we're coming up on the approach, and we walked right past it, and Bill goes, well, I don't know if you guys want to get this, but, and he starts diving into this device, and it's like, it's got buckets with cement in it, and, oh, man, you got to check the thing out, but it's really something else.
Where can we find that on Bowl TV?
It's in the Backstage channel.
Beautiful.
Bowl TV Backstage. It's actually in the On the Road Bowl TV Central segments, or playlist, I should say. Yeah, and for anyone else who's curious, that's where you can find all of our On the Road segments. But that one in particular, it's a 2-parter. And the first part is us with Liz in the car, kind of on the way there. Right, so we get a very nice interview with Liz just talking about Nebraska. And, of course, she's showing us, specifically Lincoln, and showing us where certain things were, and this used to not be here, and, that kind of thing. And then we get to the facility, take the full tour. And then right at the end, man, this device.
So it's like piping.
Yeah, well, I had the
Piping that is connected to buckets with cement.
yes. And so they placed that, of course, to her left, right? So when she was to drift, the device would be there. And that's how she was able to cut down the drift. I mean, it was incredible.
How about that?
That was worth the entire piece right there. Like, you know, it's Nebraska, and it was like, man, we want to see the trophies. We want to see what it's about. But then he throws like those nuggets in there. Like, we probably would have missed it because he was there. If he wasn't there, we probably would have
known
gotten
it was there. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm hoping that Clara can make us say wow here. Just to our left, Dasha finishes 207. Clara can punch for 212, so double and 6. But she needs, obviously, to get the first one. On the approach, just to the left of your screen, right there. Clara to the left of our screen, and her ball to the left of her target. Brings her max score down to 200 even. That will give Dasha the win with 207. Meanwhile, just to our right, Ashley Galante max score of 176, and Liz Johnson already at 181. So Liz Johnson with that match well in hand. Rocio Restrepo 258 in her win over Missy Parkin a few pair down. Looks like despite a few early opens, or more than a few early opens, Danielle McEwen has strung the back 4 against Brianna, down on 33 and 34. Yeah, Danielle splits in the first, third, and fifth. Go out for 212, and Brianna can go out for 204. Danielle gets the first one in the 10th. Her max score now is 211, excuse me. So a 9 spare here would be 200, which would give Brianna a chance for the W. But if Danielle can strike right here, she would only need 4 pins in the fill. Danielle's shot in the 11th. She posted it at the foul line. 6 wraps the 10 out. That's a double in the 10th. That's the back 6 after 3 opens in the first 5 frames. 4 pins in the fill will give Danielle the win. As we await our competitors for game number 4 here on our featured pairs, 23, 24, 25, and 26 on 23 and 24. We will see Clara Guerrero and Sherry Tan. On 25 and 26, we will have Liz Johnson and Nicole Trudell. Danielle strikes the 10th, so a solid 9-strike, 3-split, 2-11 game. Update from AA Ron Aaron Smith. Big update. Sherry Tan did indeed strike out 259, 246 over Shannon O'Keefe. So Sherry plus 89 that game.
Sherry Tan for sure. Well, I shouldn't use the word for sure. But based on Sherry Tan's equipment habits, if you will, that's probably a urethane bowling.
That is a pitch black. You say her habits. What makes you say that?
Well, based on this event.
Okay.
Just based on this event, she talked about maybe 1 or 2 reactive bowling balls when you chatted with her. We chatted with her after day 1, I believe it was.
Yes.
And then we heard the sound earlier in regards to urethane. She struggled early with reactive yesterday, made the move to urethane. So based on that, I think she's only throwing probably 2 at most 3 bowling balls.
Steve with an interesting question in the chat. He said, any disputing that Sherry is now the world's #1 female lefty?
Who said that?
Steve. Steve Curlis. It's 10:28. Chris, just a heads up, the show is Sunday.
Well, that's a good question for the good folks in the chat. That actually kind of came up a couple days ago from Rob in the chat too. He mentioned that very almost same point. To say in the world, for me personally, because I don't see the rest of the world, and I'm just being honest about, obviously, because they are good, these players, not just Singapore, Malaysia, but everyone from or not everyone, but multiple players from the United States go overseas to bowl various events. So there very well could be folks that we just don't see because they haven't made their way out to bowl. But of those we see, and as folks mentioned yesterday or whenever we talked about that, if you have that opinion, it's certainly not a bad one, because she's given you multiple reasons to certainly think in that manner.
Well, and kind of with your line of thinking, let's say, for example, that Sherry Tan was who she is, but Team Singapore didn't come out on tour.
Sure. Right, exactly. That's exactly kind of what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Where I still never would have seen Sherry Tan, but you'd see her perhaps maybe at the World Championships, and if you don't go to that event,
yeah,
you still may or may not know. I'll tell you though. I'll say this about the lefty thing. If it ends up being Sherry and Shannon on the show, and Shannon wins, if Shannon's number 2, right, and she wins a match, well then, this topic has come up a couple times this week, and then, almost by default, they can kind of settle it,
yeah,
on the lanes.
Well, through the first 3 games of qualifying with her bonus pins, Sherry Tan has 825, 735 scratch with her 90 bonus pins. Sherry's your leader plus 1152. That is 1,152. Shannon Plahowski is second, plus 990 with a 241 pin lead over Dasha in third. Dasha at 749. Birgit Perpler up to fourth at plus 692. Danielle McEwen fifth, 675. Shannon O'Keefe 669. Rocio 649. Daria 638. Liz Culkin 610. Liz Johnson 596. That is your top 10. Sydney Brummett has not found a way to reconnect with the magic that she had in match play yesterday. She shot 13-11 scratch, won all of her games this morning. 205 loss, 209 win, 180 loss. She is in 11th. Missy Parkin and Elise Bolton tied in 12th. Claire Guerrero 14th, Brianna Cote 15th, Ashley Galante 16th, Stephanie Johnson 17th, and Nicole Trudell in 18th.
Such a tough spare there. Especially for a righty. Nice spare for Clara. Ugh.
Is that one of those like high flush cave in the pocket 7 pins for Shannon O'Keefe?
Yeah, that was a little.
It just sounded
weird. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't an over the top 7.
Dasha down on 20 early, front 4 against Stephanie Johnson.
Nice shot. Both of these players earned gold medals at the World Championships. I know Steve was watching the World Championships. We were trying to help him figure out where to watch, and of course Sherry winning Masters gold, Clara helping Columbia to the team gold.
Sitting down with Clara this morning, I asked her, we talked about how she's one of the players in the field that's not automatically in Richmond via a win this season, but she is currently the first player in based on points, so she's safe with her points. It's one less thing for her to have to worry about this week. And I asked her about that, but kind of piggybacking onto what you just said, we also talked about Team Colombia winning the gold in the team event.
It was amazing. It was amazing. We have been working so hard for so many years. We have been bowling together, and we have been able to win many medals. But at the World Championships during team event, we only got bronze and silver in the past. So this was definitely one of our dreams, and we are very happy that it was a reality now.
So very thrilled for Clara and Team Columbia, and we talked a little bit yesterday about how important it is for these countries to win these medals. And you could just, when I asked her about it, her face just absolutely lit up. I mean, very thrilled for that. And following the excitement of talking about that, I said, well, you have to get in on points for Richmond, but you're the first player in, so you don't have to worry about it. So where is your mind focused coming into this afternoon?
Definitely, I just want to perform well. Yesterday, even though I didn't bowl bad, I didn't feel as good physically. Today, I'm focused on just doing my own game, doing my best every shot, and then if things come my way, then I'll be very happy. The lanes have been playing different every time, and I just want to be able to focus on what the lanes are doing, just doing my best.
It's been a very nice, I hate using the word comeback sometimes, but and we don't have a comeback player of the year or a comeback award. But for example, last year, Liz Culkin kind of clearly was, kind of that player after really struggling for the previous 2 seasons, and wins her first major title, has a great season overall. For someone like Clara, who has just been phenomenal on every level she's bowled on, collegiately, all of the international competition, and certainly these last few years on the PWBA tour. She actually won this event in 2016. So she knows what it's like to be a major champion. But, the injuries, she's been bitten by that injury bug the last few seasons, and really has, hampered, I should say, seasons that could have been great. The back injury last year really kind of cut down the season. Happened at the Queens. Tried to go, next event, couldn't go. Missed an event, came back late, did make a show late in the season, but really threw off the momentum. Missed the tour championship, that kind of thing. So before that, she had a finger injury. She was forced to change pitches the season before. Even this year, at the Lincoln Open during the finals, was it Lincoln? Was it Fountain Valley? I have to get my events back in order. But she kind of fell slightly ill. Was feeling dizzy. On the approach, somehow got through the game after finding out. She was actually having dizzy spells, and couldn't figure out where she was standing and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, it was a serious moment for her. So, it really is good to see her kind of really get through everything that has happened from that standpoint, injury-wise, and to really have a legitimate chance. Obviously, not only winning this event here, but thinking about the tour championship and being back at a place that she wants to be at, and really having a chance at winning that event.
I think what we're seeing right here from Sherry Tan is this is a player who threw resin all throughout qualifying, and then switched. I believe is she switched to her urethane to finish out yesterday, match play yesterday. So she hasn't had as many reps on this pattern with her urethane equipment as Plowhowski has. So she's finding out, live on the air, so to speak, where her mistake room is and where it isn't. And she's trying to work out the kinks here in match play, as opposed to having a stretch of time during the 18 games of qualifying where she was able to throw it and learn those, those attributes and those characteristics about the ball and the pattern.
Well, as mentioned in the chat, indeed, here comes Liz Johnson. 6 in a row, looking for 7/8 frame. Jeez Louise. Like a decent shot. 4-9 for Liz Johnson, and for the time being, a little hope here for Nicole Trudell, perhaps pulling out a victory.
Urethane ball does not like this pair for whatever reason. It hooked up high on her in the 4th and split. It hooked up in the 7th. We just saw that split. And then she makes a small adjustment here in the 8th on a lane where it split through the face 2 frames ago on that lane and just pushes the entire length of the synthetic surface and almost leaves a bucket. These players talked about they were hoping to hit more good pairs than they did bad pairs, and this may simply just be a bad pair for Sherry. The good thing for her is she's not out of the match. She can still get to 194. Clara on pace for a 196. And by on pace, I mean if she marks out, not losing count.
Always tough 3, 6, 9, 10. It didn't look easy, did Nicole Trudell in the 8th frame. Liz can max out at 256. So 224 max for Trudell. And obviously Liz Johnson controls the destiny here for these 30 bonus pins.
Dasha on the far end with a chance to shoot 259. Her first shot in the 10th is a good one. That puts her in the 240s. Right now, looking at the standings, Dasha is probably more concerned with trying to extend her advantage over 4th and 5th than she is trying to make up the deficit to Shannon Blahowski. She's 241 behind Shannon and only 57 and 74 ahead of 4th Birgit Porpler and 5th Danielle McEwen. Blahowski this game, no doubles, 1 split. Can strike out for 214 as she strikes the 8th.
LJ is going to get.
She'll get healthy off this game. Liz strikes out, gets the win. That'll put her at plus 86 for the game, which would bring her total up to plus 682. And coming into this game, 682 would have put her 5th. The other Liz Culkin, has her match wrapped up, but she's given pins away by the field with a 2-4-8-10 here in the 9th. Kovalova going to pick up pins on both of the players ahead of her. Blahowski currently down to Ashley Galante, and Sherry Tan down to Clara. Sherry goes back to a resin ball on that shot.
I think she did on the right lane as well.
Okay, I did not see that shot.
And you can easily see the difference.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, right, you would think so in that sense, but That ball probably hooked at least 5 more boards. She left 2-4-7.
Oh, 124. Okay. Well, the GOAT with a great performance there, 256. Gets the dub over Nicole Trudell. Well, dare I say, we just witnessed on Bowl TV Sherry Tan's lowest game of the tournament. Which means we'll probably see 238 from her next game.
Probably 270. She's going to go the old 100 pin route. Liz Colkin is going to defeat Shannon O'Keefe. In fact, has defeated Shannon O'Keefe. Colkin in the books, 221. And Shannon can max out at 195.
O'Keefe has had a rough morning. She shot 728. She's 1-2. 248 win to open the day, then a 234 loss and a 246 loss.
Yeah, that's 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 match play sometimes. I mean, you know, those happen, unfortunately, especially for the player, obviously.
You know what?
Shoot 240, you probably expect to win.
You know what we've talked about. If you're going to take a loss, make sure that your game is still plus. That gets old when you go back-to-back 30-40 losses.
You know, the 180s that you win, you're like, okay, man, you know, happy I snuck that one out right. The 170, the 160, you know, the 190, you know, it also you expect to maybe lose those as well. You shoot 240.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, boy, that's a tough one to lose. 230, okay, maybe. 240, yeah, that's fair.
Elise Bolton, the 346, 710.
Is that a spare to win there?
Yes. It was. Well, it was count to win.
Okay.
If she had gotten 4, she'd have won by 1. Meanwhile, Shannon Pluhowski could have doubled the 10th to shut out Ashley Galante. Shannon went strike flat 7. So Galante stepping up in the 10th can double and get 8 down on 29 and 30. Danielle McEwen is going to shoot 140 this game. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting 5 splits for Danielle McEwen. That is 8 splits in the last 2 games for Danielle McEwen. 5 this game. 3 in a row to finish out. A 143 effort that game from Danielle.
Yikes.
So Sherry Tan, Shannon O'Keefe, Danielle McEwen, All 169 or lower. Dasha with a big game. Rocio with a big game. Liz Johnson with a big game.
We could see some movement here, is what you're saying. Could be some things going on. Business is hot to pick up.
And the movement, I guess I would say, would be in the background because it's not going to be like the positions on the standings, but those scores are going to tighten up a little bit, or a lot of it.
So let's say Brumman's going to get a win. Looks like she's going to get to, what's that?
220. I'll say she can get to 223, I believe. No, 243. She can get to 243. She got the first one in the 10th. And the second one in the 10th is on its way. Flat 10, make that a 232 max score for Sydney. Dasha Kovalova and Stephanie Johnson in the unenviable positions of facing off against two great players who just had pretty bad games. These women on here find a way to turn it around pretty quick. And for Shannon, looking at her morning, we talked about 728 for the first three. She may have just hit a bad pair.
Well, 23 and 24. I don't think we've seen terribly low scores on it, but we've seen a lane or two, or a lane at a time, perhaps give players some fits. Shannon went right back to writing some notes in her journal or notebook. Shot there from Kovalova. Don't forget, folks, if we looking for some new bowling gear, don't forget to head on over to the USBC Bowling Store at usbcbowlingstore.com. That is the official store of the United States Bowling Congress. And also, while on Bowl TV, be sure to stop by the lab. Check out my main man, Stephen Padilla. I actually haven't seen Stephen in a long time, and I feel that my life is not quite complete because of such things. But check out my main man, Stephen Padilla, in the lab on Bowl TV. He is the USBC Director of Coaching, and of course, if you haven't checked him out, he does provide knowledge, tips to help you improve your game. And his new series is called The Coach, so be sure to check him out in the lab. We also talk about Lou Marquez, and he's got his series called Hot Off the Press, talking about technical insight in the game from his pro shop expertise. And then also Rod Ross. Don't forget about Team USA head coach Rod Ross and his series, The Video Room. All of those can be found in the lab on Bowl TV. The lab. What I just mentioned in regards to Steven, actually a new episode of The Coach coming out today. So new piece of content in Steven's series. I've actually got to get caught up. Ooh. We've seen a couple 4.9s on lane 25. I tend to binge watch a lot of stuff these days. And since I was out, Bowl TV was included in that. What's your and I'm curious because I've been getting into TV shows, right? Because the last 3 weeks of my life have been really all over the place, literally.
Yes, they have.
So it's took me a while to kind of get adjusted to not to being at home, but to being at home for as long as I was at home. After being used to weekly tour stops. Here's what we do from Wednesday to Sunday, sometimes Monday.
Yeah.
You go home for a day, and then you do it all over again. So you get in that routine. And then that was just like, and then I had a different tour stop, and it was the Trey Williams III Open. And he requires, looks like this is an 18-year-long minimum.
It's gonna be a lot longer than that, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping it's like 200 years old for his sake, because that'd be really cool. Nonetheless, get me all out of my routine. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's time to kind of watch TV in a sense, right? And so we started watching this show called Snowfall.
Okay.
Very good show.
Heard of it, never seen it.
By the way. We started watching it as is, kind of in season 3. And then we said, well, okay, well, we got to at least catch up to season 3. And then now we're at a point where, they're introducing new people to us, but they're not new to the show. So then you're kind of forced to go back and figure out where those folks came from. And Shanice has got me on the Queen of the South. And had some my cousins just told me last night about the All-American. You watched Last Chance U at all on Netflix?
I've dabbled in it, yes.
Okay. About done with that. About done with that. So anyway, I'm curious. What are your shows right now? What are you watching on Netflix or any streaming service or TV?
Unless I am.
You two in the chat too, by the way. What are you guys watching out there?
Unless the significant other in my life is like, hey, let's watch this. This has been for the last 12 years of my life. They're like, hey, I want to watch this new show. I am a creature of habit, so I will binge watch shows that I've seen only the Lord knows how many times. Like right now, I'm going back through Frasier.
Okay.
I had never watched Cheers before.
Ooh.
So I finished that up. I started that late last calendar year. Took a little bit of a break and then just finished up the last couple seasons about a month ago. And then Mom and I grew up and Mom and I would watch Frasier on Thursday nights on NBC growing up. So I've binge watched Frasier a few times. But the number one show, my go-to, it's on in the background for white noise, is The Office.
You sound like someone else I know.
It sounds like you know someone else that's a pretty awesome person.
He is a phenomenal individual. Phenomenal. One of the best people I know. 100%.
Who's that?
Aaron Smith.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I think I had watched maybe one episode of The Office until Aaron Smith introduced it to me in a different manner. And I find Aaron, you know, if I see him watching something, I'm like, oh, what's that? It's funny, right? And I knew it was The Office. Like, I know the characters. Never really just sat down. I think it was like the first episode or something. And so it was like perfect timing, right? And you just watch and that was hilarious. It really was. And then, you know, season or episode 2 comes on and it's like, oh, okay. So then I'm starting asking questions of little things that I kind of didn't know, like Jim, right? Jim and
Jim and Pam.
Yeah, right. Started getting into. Well, didn't they used to, or isn't he like the leader of the thing now? You know, the kind of thing. Didn't Steve Carell leave the show or something like that at some point?
After season 7, Steve Carell left the show.
So I'm starting asking all these questions. Yes. But I did say at one point I should just sit down and kind of just binge watch that show.
Well, what's great about shows like that, and really nothing is on the pedestal like a show like that, but the fact that they're 21, 22-minute episodes. So you can just churn through a bunch of them. But yeah, The Office, Parks and Rec, Friends, Frasier, but a couple of new shows on Netflix that are Netflix originals. You and Atypical. Atypical, or You is more of a kind of a drama, and then Atypical is kind of a dry comedy.
Shannon 5 out of 6 here, and with that look, still looking pretty focused, pretty determined here on 23 and 24. Someone said 2 broke girls. Who was that? Jennifer? Said 2 broke girls. Alyssa said
2 Broke Girls has Anna Faris in it, I think. She was in all the Scary Movie comedies. Or a few of them, anyway.
Is Fear the Walking Dead a show, or is that 2 shows? I know The Walking Dead. I don't want to say the name wrong.
I got out of Walking Dead after like season 6 when things just started getting a little stupid for me. I do want to go back and rewatch it on Netflix at some point, though. Maybe I'll start that tonight.
I'm just basing on what Alyssa had said. She said she was starting to binge watch Fear the Walking Dead, so I just want to make sure I got the name right, so if I want to watch it, I'll go watch it too. They say Anna Faris is in Mom.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's a completely different show. Fear the Walking Dead is better than. Okay, all right. It's a different show. Okay. Well, both have said it's better than The Walking Dead. I've seen none of the originals, so I'll be fresh into it and all of the above. Chris Williams says he's currently reading Altered Carbon. Check out the show once he finishes the book. Okay. He threw in a jab, too, like I knew he would. Those of us with teams in the hunt are still watching baseball. Guess that doesn't help Emil. You are correct, although I did watch my fair share of baseball while I was at home, including the White Sox. Bill Walton was actually one of the guest analysts for a weekend series against the Angels. It was amazing.
He's something else.
It was absolutely amazing. I do plan to get to the ballpark before September ends, though, because I haven't gone yet.
Back to Chris's point, though, it is easy for those of you who cheer for multiple teams.
Look at them.
To have teams that are still relevant. Speaking of relevance, update after Game 4, the 182 loss by Shannon O'Keefe and the 143 loss by Danielle McEwen dropped them each about 5 spots in the standings. That's how tight things are.
Wow.
Sherry Tan's lead over Shannon Pluhowski is now less than 100. It's 98 to be exact.
Hey, man, here it comes.
Dasha Kovalova, about 180 behind Shannon. Dasha in third. Daria Payok up to fourth after shooting 266 that game for the dub. She is at plus 734.
How about that?
Birgit Porpler in fifth at 691. Rocio in sixth at 690. Liz Johnson, 682. Liz Culkin, 661. Shannon O'Keefe, 651. Danielle is in 10th at 618. So just 73 pins out of the TV show in 10th place. Sydney Brummett is at 590. Elise Bolton, 544. Clara, 521. Missy Parkin, 493. She is 198 out of the show. And then Ashley Galante, 375. Brianna Cote, 353. Stephanie Johnson, 334. And Nicole Trudell, 214. And it's an interesting race with Bree and Stephanie down at 16th and 17th.
Both of those players are. Bree was. Well, I guess we've got updated standings from a points perspective, tour championship points. But Bree and Steph were around coming into this event. Wow. Okay.
Bree needs to stay where she's at. She cannot lose a spot, or she is going to fall below Tanya in the points.
And she's 16th
in the tournament standings. Correct.
And so you're saying she needs to
stay there or
16th or higher, at this moment in time.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm following. Make it.
Oh.
Right lane. I've seen that a lot so far today. A particular lane that's really gotten players. Right now it's 26 for Ashley Galante.
Summer talked about that. Summer Jasmine was in the booth with us the back half of match play yesterday, or for most of match play, and she said that on almost every pair, the left lane was hooking more than the right lane until she hit, what was it, 37 and 38, where it flipped, and the two lanes were opposite from what the rest of the house was playing like.
Daniel, while you're looking at that, can you update the viewers on where Tanya is specifically? Basically, I'll let him get you the exact number right now, but she is, if you just think of 16 players, she is 16th. And with the few players that are still remaining in the field now, who are either or coming in below the line or even above that number, basically, it has gotten to a point, like he said, Bree, based on 16th position points. That's the minimum that she can fall before dropping out of that top 16, or she'd be below, Tanya. Same thing with Steph and even Shannon Pluhowski. And it's a little bit of a different scenario for Pluhowski. But what's that number for right now?
Like her point total?
Tanya's point total.
Tanya's point total is 60,780. So as the standings sit right now, Stephanie Johnson is she's just less than 1,000 points ahead of Tanya, but Stephanie can only lose 300 points from where she is in the standings. She's 17th right now. So if she loses one more spot, she only drops down 300 points. She stays ahead of Tanya. Bree, however, is less than 300 ahead of Tanya. So Bree in 16th right now has 7,700 points for the event. If she loses one spot, she falls to 7,400, and that would drop her. That would drop her an astounding 45 points below Tanya. That's how close they are. So that's why we say Bree has got to stay above 17th. And the reason that this is an issue is because Tanya being that cutoff, you've got two players right now coming into this tournament that were on the outside of the top 16, Shannon Pluhowski and Sherry Tan, and they're looking pretty strong. So with Tanya being in 16th, if one of those two players wins, then that would take one spot away from the players that are trying to advance via the points. And that would be the last one out, which right now is Tanya.
Big things popping. Well, let's see. 90, 20, 50, 80. Down on 19 and 20. Clara Guerrero can shoot 270. She's already got the win locked up versus Liz Colkin, but she can add 100 pins to her total. And Clara, after the, of course, latest standings, got that plus 521 mark, 170 back of fifth. We'll keep you updated, but you can watch, of course, on 19 and 20. And the first one is good for Clara. Meanwhile, Shannon Pluhowski, 9 sparing in the 9th. 7 pin, had the first one in the 10th. She's going to shoot with the spare 259. And she too will get a win over Nicole Trudell. And slowly, or not slowly anymore, closing the gap, as Daniel mentioned, between her and Sherry Tan for the top spot at the moment.
Birgit kind of doing here what we saw Danielle McEwen do, not on our featured pairs a couple of games ago. Danielle had a 9-strike, 3-split, 2-11 effort. Birgit trying to turn in the ever-popular 9-strike, 3-split, 226 effort this game, and a possible win over Ashley Galante. Birgit led after the first block. Wednesday morning, but ever since then she's been hovering around that 6th, 7th position, kind of poking her head up into the top 5 every now and then, but pretty well set after each block. She's been 6th, and when I met up with her this morning, I asked her, I said, you've been outside the top 5 but huddled right around it. What do you have to do in these 12 games to get inside the top 5 and make TV?
I just want to stay patient. Like yesterday, I kind of lost my patience. You smile. Yeah, I know it's still 12 more games, and with all the bonus pins, everything can really happen because there are a lot of girls like really close. So I just want to try to win some matches. Like, I don't think the lanes are going to be significantly different. I just hope not. So just make good shots and try to. Yeah, like you said, beat some of the girls, to be honest.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
As far as beating the other players, she's 2-2 today. Her overall match play record for the tournament is 5-5, so right on that 500 number. Plus 74 on the day, plus 691 overall. Sitting in 5th place, just 1 pin ahead of 6th and 9 pins ahead of 7th.
Shot there, good shot. You're good, kind of burst on the scene. Let's see. Besides 2016 Queens, where she did finish 5th, 4th, one or the other, made the show. I want to say the 2015 Queens, and again, Aaron, I know, would know. Either shot 300, maybe led qualifying at some point, but kind of your first intro to, oh, who's this bearded person? Who is this player? Who is this young woman who throws it exceptional from Germany? Thank you, Aaron Smith. And also correct as well. That's good.
Boom. 226. And that's what separates the professionals out here doing this for a living and those of us that bowl leagues. She opens 3 of her first 4 and then goes off the sheet for 226.
That's especially at this situation. You know, we just talked about, I just heard her talk about, you know, got to win some matches, plain and simple. And the first 3 or 4 would suggest that that was going to be a loss, but she turned it into a W. Casey, I think Statmaster Aaron is very appropriate. Aaron and I have talked about this before, and we all are, you know, I would say have really good knowledge of previous events, etc. But I do feel Aaron, I told him he would be the greatest sports information
Oh, yeah, director.
statistician of all time, in my opinion. Only problem with those positions, unless you're, you know, probably worked your way up, been in a position for a long time at a Power 5 school, they don't make that much. From what I understand, from my time working in a sports information office, etc. That's neither here nor there. But that's just simply to piggyback and compliment Aaron on things I've already complimented him on before. But
Yeah, don't need his head to get too big.
always compliment. Yeah, you're right. He's still reeling from last night, so any positive thoughts and compliments would help.
Well, I mean, those of you listening, I mean, you don't know. Whenever he gets a stat right in the chat or in our offline conversation, he walks around with his chest puffed out for 20, 30 minutes.
We should offer some kind of, I think yesterday I was talking about, like, putting together a team for, like, the 10K, right? You know, people have teams and they kind of get funds. People sponsor the team kind of thing.
Yeah, because you were talking about doing it for the Bowl TV, and then we started naming off the people that work Bowl TV.
And I think people have mentioned this before. But
oh, nice 4-9 conversion by Elise.
somehow we should figure out a way to, like, auction off we need like a day with the Bowl TV viewers, an evening with Bowl TV, and then we just go hang out. Like,
I don't know, man. We've done that with some radio listeners at
didn't go well
at iHeart back in the day, and there's some weirdos like that Chris guy. I mean, just you don't know what you're gonna get. I'm telling you. That's not a bad idea, though. I mean, it'd be a way to engage with our viewers. You know, those people that we talk with during the season every week in the chat.
Yeah, I feel at this point we really know each other, right? And I'm talking that we as in us here, you as in the viewer. I feel like we really know, and that was my goal. That's always my goal. That's why I like the chat so much, the interaction, social media, etc. Yeah, you got to watch it, but if you, probably have to limit it to, this amount of people at a time kind of thing. I don't know. We're not doing the, the ESPN charity kind of thing, but who knows? Maybe at some point, maybe that would be a cause for it. Who knows?
I'll just say this much. Based on conversations I've had with you all over the last couple of weeks, whether it be while setting up or tearing down or at dinner or in hotel lobbies or whatever, the future of the PWBA and Bowl TV is bright, and there are some exciting things, exciting ideas out there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of this.
This is Game 6. Kind of flew by. Maybe it's just me.
It's not just you.
And we started late too. Now it is a shorter break for the players, so. Oh wait.
No, because we'll be up at 2 p.m. We're gonna be done by noon. Before then.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. That's not a bad idea there, Christopher. Hang out in the booth. Yeah, we treated like, see how can I get Chris involved in this? The Dodger Stadium press box. Gonna hop in who is that? My man Joe Davis now. Of course,
Gosh, he got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, taking over for the legend. That's always tough. But, I think I followed Joe on social media. And I followed him and Adam Amin very early on. And 'cause I knew they were on the track to become, two of the best. And they were young, etc. And I've seen some comments and stuff just from fans, and most seem to be very positive. I imagine the first year out, it's tough to feel a legend. That's why I felt so, I was worried about you, for these last couple of weeks, because, it's tough following a legend. So, but you've handled it with grace. Handled it well.
Was Matt working this
No.
before? I didn't know Matt Canizero was doing Bowl TV.
And I knew you would catch on to that and go the other way. Okay.
Jennifer in the chat offering she'll step in with some snacks.
Oh well, that's a given.
You don't even know, man. Those cookies in Orlando.
What kind were they?
Peanut butter, chocolate chip, and sugar.
Pretty even through a couple. Got Sherry Tan, Liz Colkin, and then on 23 and 24, we will have Daria Payok and Rocio Restrepo. That should be a very good match to end round 2. With both of those players now in contention.
Daria and Bree just now finishing their 10 frames for Game 5, so that's why we're kind of waiting a little bit here.
Meanwhile, Elise Bolton, who was 8th, by the way, yesterday after round 1. This was after round 1 last night. I talked about her just earlier in the day yesterday, and
she was 8th.
I told her last night, and excellent shot there from Colkin. I told Elise last night and said, and it's just me being truthful. We've seen you before. Just be in the moment and have some good rounds, and feel like you're about to kind of take that turn, and all of a sudden something would happen later in the block, and it would result in you missing the cut. And obviously she acknowledged that and said, hey, this week's different. She made a pitch change too during the break while she was out. Of course, she was nursing a back injury, and we were talking about that. She actually threw out her tailbone. I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, I did not even know that either.
4 in a row for Liz Colkin. Yeah. So interesting story talking to Elise Bolton last night. So a pitch change from the bowling perspective, pitch change and obviously some practice, but really getting the injury together. And shout out to I had to get the name. I want to make sure we acknowledge the chiropractor that is here this week for the players. Of course, courtesy of Buffalo Lanes North. And we'll make sure we mention that name pretty soon here. But he was here late, kind of helping the players and getting them feeling prepared for today. So again, big thanks to Buffalo Lanes North. Make it 4 in a row for Sherry Tan. All right, Sherry looking to be the first to 5. That's got a push. And, of course, leaves a 6-pin. Sherry goes about her business on the lanes. But, yeah, if you talk to her off the lanes, pretty funny. Great personality. So, by the way, that chiropractor is Dr. Eric J. Asklund, and I hope I'm saying that correctly.
You are.
Okay, Asklund Chiropractor and Acupuncture.
He is also his business has stepped in to sponsor the Bowl with the Pros tomorrow as well.
How about that? So, big thanks to Dr. Asklund for, again, helping these great professionals and his sponsorship of the Bowl with the Pros. 2 shifts tomorrow here at Buffalo Lanes North. So,
is it 1 and 6?
Yep.
1 and 6. Okay. And it looks like, just to fill you all in, the norm is just now starting your matches. Just to fill you all in, most matches are just now getting started. The Liz Culkin, Sherry Tan match in front of us is 5 frames in, and the Nicole Trudell, Elise Bolton match on 19 and 20 that is in the 8th frame. Those are the outliers. Pretty much everyone else is just now starting their 6th and final game of the 2nd match play block of the tournament. Steve Klompkin singing the praises of Sherry Tan. Said in the chat that she's incredible. I don't think we've had a player at Storm on Specto with more consistent laydown, launch angle, and speed control. Maybe Belmo, but even that's a maybe. And that's a heck of a compliment right there.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the one thing we hear about Belmo is how accurate he is.
I tell you what, I mean, yeah, goes without saying, but if you have all 3 of those all in tune, every shot, I mean, talk about hitting the repeat button.
Just a machine.
Just making copies, as I like to say. Thanks for that insight there, Steve. Appreciate that.
She could probably teach Earl a few things.
Well, based on that, we should have Sherry kind of come on in, and maybe we'll take we'll get Sherry's info. Maybe Steve, with their permission, we'll share that information, and we'll throw in Sherry's attributes and see what happens. I want to thank people too, by the way, about Earl, because within, I don't know, within I don't know, 15-minute span, I had like 5 people ask me about Earl yesterday. And so just happy that people really did enjoy and do enjoy it. That series. We've had a few episodes. They haven't been as frequent as they have been last season. Because when we started this year, everything else was kind of starting up too. So we're trying to, as best we can, get episodes done and whatnot. Check out the latest standings. That's what it says in the lower third of your screen. Well, we'll help you do that.
Plahowski has closed the gap to just 65 pins on Sherry Tan. Sherry at 1177 and Shannon at 1112. So 65 pins separate those two. Almost a 300 pin gap from Shannon down to Dasha. Dasha at 829. Birgit 747. Rocio jumps in the top 5. 733. Daria 727. A bunch of airplanes up there. 747, 727. Shannon O'Keefe in 7th at 716. 17 pins out of the show. Liz Johnson in 8th. She's 33 pins out of the show. Danielle McEwen, 47 out. And Sydney Brummett in 10th at 55 out. Liz Culkin, 91 out. Clara Guerrero in 12th, 125. Then it's a big gap down to Elise, is 223 out. Missy in 14th. Brianna Cote in 15th. Ashley Galante, 16th. Stephanie Johnson, 17th. And Nicole Trudell in 18th position.
Hello to Craig Elliott. Checking in. Craig has been a part of some of our Bowl TV coverage in the last 2 seasons on the PWBA Tour. Appreciate his help as always. Thanks, Craig. Hope all is well in your area. Back, what was it, Tucson? It's Tucson. Craig came out and helped us out. This one's going to come down to the 10th frame more than likely with Tan and Culkin. And depending on how this match finishes up, and of course what Plahowski does, we might see a flip in players up top, potentially, based on that deficit that is now closed. Shrunk. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Seen that movie, by the way, Danny?
Rick Moranis? Absolutely.
Okay, just check.
Oh. Little fist pump there from Liz Culkin. That's what I want to see.
Been haven't seen her obviously throughout the day, but you know, Liz can she gets amped up. If you watch the trios gold medal match last week at the Worlds, she threw the first shot in the 10th, which I believe locked it up, but. And then Coach Baker comes over, and you can tell, just kind of give her that word of just relax and kind of get through it a little bit. And she said after in the post game, like, yeah, I was getting amped up, and Coach Baker came over and said, hey, calm down a little bit. Let's get through it. Let's finish the job, kind of thing. And she certainly did. But it is fun to watch her when she does get amped up, because generally she's throwing it really well. And the strikes are starting to pile up. You saw a little bit, I think, was it Hartford?
Yes.
Especially she had her support system there. Family and friends had made the trip. So. Wow, how about what? Well, this Bowl TV crew just keeps getting better and better, don't they? How about that?
Wow.
And that was just on a whim, because that was just me being me, making references to things that I might say that about random movies, topics, cartoon. It could be anything with me. Oh, what an interesting hit there. I don't know what pin came back and hit the 7 pin off the sidewall. Dasha Kovalova, meanwhile, next door. And a very good match with Brianna Cote as we get ready to end this round. Meanwhile, both Restrepo and Daria, at least with one open row with one. Of course, Daria with back-to-back splits. Colkin. And 6 through the nose. That's a tough one there from when it happened, and especially from the count perspective. As Colkin could have looked to shut out Tan there.
Slow down, slow down. One match already completed. Nicole Trudell and Elise Bolton. Nicole punched out to tie Elise at 2:06. So that match down to 19 and 20 ended in a tie.
Back-to-back shots that have gone high for Liz Colkin. Spare strike now will give her 231. After a great conversion for Daria, 10 pin on lane 23. So a few low scores from matches at the end of the round yesterday. Few low scores here. Sydney Brummett, by the way, front 6 on lane 30. Sherry Tan is going to need the first one in the 10th frame. Oh no, that's not right. Still need a mark in the 10th. 9 out, and that would not be enough. Front 7 for Sydney Brummett.
Coming into Game 5 today, no one undefeated on the day. However, Shannon Pluhowski, Daria Payok, and Liz Johnson all 4-1 in their matches this morning. Mark here in the 10th for Sherry will give her the match win. Doesn't seem to like it off her hand. Ball hits a little flat, leaves a half 7. Kovalova, spare 7-bagger just to our right. Great shot there by Rowe. Kind of a position round here between Daria and Rocio. Daria in 6th and Rocio in 5th position. It's always good when you can keep someone above or below you in the standings from winning a match when it's not an official position round. It's always nice when these pop up on the schedule. Six pins here for Sherry Tan. We'll seal the deal.
Nice shot there from Daria. Six pins out of the number. Dasha Kovalova, spare 7-bagger. Dash has been comfortably in the 3rd position, despite right now below 500 match play record. And Sydney Brummett has the front 9. Brummett 55 pins back. Big double there for Rocio. All right, so folks, if you want to get a lane level view, if you will, of Sydney Brummett's 300 attempt, head on over to the PWBA Instagram account. We will be live there specifically for, again, Sydney's 300th attempt. She's stepping up in the 10th frame. First shot coming up. Through the nose and the 310. First shot for Liz, or excuse me, Sydney. Beg your pardon, Sid the Kid. It looks like already enough to get the W versus Missy Parkin. And meanwhile, Rowe has no one come behind just the head pin enough. Kovalova.
Oh, come on.
And Dasha. An opportunity at 290. She leaves a pocket 710. First shot in the 10th frame. Well, Brummett made her 310. Perhaps Dash can give the fans something to cheer for here and make a 710. You'll see Rowe on your left, and Kovalova will enter your screen on the right momentarily. All right, great game nonetheless. 256, that's going to be a win.
Well, with Sydney shooting 276, that's plus 106 for the game. That'll put her at plus 784, which coming into this game would have been 4th. Daria holds up on that shot. I'd be willing to say one player who is pretty thrilled that this 6-game block is over is Danielle McEwen. 2-4 on the day. Wins of 211, 238. Losses of 225, 165, 143. And that game right there, 171. And she split the 9th and missed a single pin in the 10th. Danielle just not seeing something on the pattern this morning that she's seen the rest of the tournament. 6-0 yesterday, 13 plus 129 in match play yesterday afternoon, 6-0 record. And she just got turned upside down on this pattern today. Not quite sure what happened. But still 6 games to go. And she was high enough up that she has not, in no way has she bowled herself out of TV. Just a little more work to do this afternoon. Daria with some work to do here. Strike here, forces row to punch out for a possible tie. Both players maxing at 224. Brianna Cote with the spare ball finish. Uses her spare ball in the fill and just dead flushes it for 215. She comes back and Dosh just kind of opens her arms about her as if to say, why didn't you do that all day if it looks that good?
Yeah, there are days like that. All right, important finish here for both Rowe and Daria. That is left for Rowe.
As we kind of start to wrap up this block and we head into the final 6-game block, before we know the scores for Shannon Pluhowski, how they match up after this game, with 6 games to go, who do you think might get that top spot?
Wait, say that again? Let me just get it. Sorry.
Okay, with 6 games to go for Shannon Pluhowski and Sherry Tan. They have quite separated themselves from the rest of the field. Who's going to take home that #1 spot in qualifying? Who's going to be the #1 seed onto the TV show?
Well, let me look at something real quick. You know, it's hard to base anything off this round because they've both been, outside of round #1, as Rowe chops a spare there in the 9th. And I'm speaking of match play, where Sherry Tan had beat Shannon by 100. I'm not sure where Shannon, what she finished with this round, but an excellent round for Pluhowski. I might have to go with urethane, and if I lean in that direction I think Sherry's got a bit of a better handle on it, as we talked about, and you mentioned a great point, just kind of hadn't used it a lot, so getting accustomed to it during a block. Shannon doesn't necessarily have to worry about that. I think her game plan is set, as is Sherry's, but if it comes down to urethane, I would lean towards Pluhowski at this point. The other point of that would be, it's win if you're in for both, and I'm talking about Tour Championship. If you win the title, they're both in. But Shannon has the better opportunity if she finishes, what is it, 2nd or higher or something? Third or higher.
Based on kind of the numbers we've looked at.
And so I think because Shannon understands that, I think that would be her focus and goal in that moment. And that would guarantee, she's #1 seed, that would guarantee her a spot in the Tour Championship.
Win or loss in the final.
Win or lose, because the best she could finish, or the worst she'd finish at that point, would be 2nd.
Correct. Aaron Smith put up a poll on the Bowl TV chat. Did you see?
I like it.
Don't pick this one. It only works with even numbers. And of course, one person picked it. I guarantee it was Chris.
I like that person.
Guarantee it was Chris.
Always take the road less traveled. You know, Daria is throwing the final shots, and she comes back, and clearly that one did not come off properly. But when we talked about the conversation we had about Daria during qualifying, and it's
Whoa. Yeah, that did come flying off her hand. I just watched the replay on my laptop because I was looking down at the at my spreadsheet, and then I heard the crowd go, whoa, 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 and I thought maybe she fell or hit her ankle or something. I'm glad to see it was just a ball that decided to fly off her hand about a split second too early. That was much better off her hand.
To finish that point, it's almost as if things have worked out in the sense because we had a discussion. She's bowled well this week, and like we said, either way it was going to go, all eyes would have been on her no matter what. Whether it was positive, people saying this, seeing people saying that, and the only way to sometimes kind of get out of things is, no one's out here to prove people wrong, but it's just a part of your psyche. And after the struggle she's had, she is in position to make another TV show at a major.
Well, with that win right there, she's going to pass Rocio in the standings. We don't know, 100% what everybody behind her shot as far as wins, losses, and scratch scores, but Daria certainly looks to be on the show right now with 6 games to go, starting at 2 p.m. this afternoon.
Who will advance into our CBS Sports Network live TV show.
But speaking of Daria, I'm going to go grab her for a quick little interview that we're going to shoot with Curtis, and we'll have that up on the PWBA social media momentarily.
Fantastic. Nice work today, sir.
Yes, sir. Right back at you.
All right, that is Daniel Farish, and as he mentioned, we'll have Daria some PWBA social media channels. She'll be our interview subject after this round, and like I said, she's got an opportunity to make a show. Again, the struggles and whatnot, but Daria's been on some TV shows if you think about it. She won the title in 2017 in Detroit, was the top seed at the U.S. Women's Open in 2017, made the show last year in St. Petersburg, Clearwater. So obviously she's shown the ability. We all know that, and also she's shown the ability to struggle, flaws, whatever that might be. But here she is again, and in contention here at the third major of the season. Again, for many players like Daria, a win at this event, and they are on to the PWBA Tour Championship. I want to thank everyone who tuned in today. Another great day of bowling and another fantastic opportunity to interact and share with you, the Bowl TV viewers. Great job by Aaron Smith, our maestro, producer, director, statistician extraordinaire, and a fantastic writer as well. Shout out to Daniel Farish. She's going to go chat with Daria, and I am going to sign off and probably take a look at some things we need for our TV notes and see what we can get started there. So, having said that, we're going to use our 2-hour break, hopefully to the best of our abilities. So for, again, 2 p.m. Eastern time, by the way, folks, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern time, the final round of match play here at the QubicaAMF PWBA Players Championship. You do not want to miss it on a grand Friday afternoon. Shout out to my wife, Shanice, who is watching at home with our son, Emil III, of course, also known as Trey. He is officially 1 month old today. Actually, well, we got a few more hours. He was born at 10:08 p.m., but you know what I'm talking about. The kid's already 1 month. Good Lord. The time is going by. All right, I'll see you at 2 p.m. Eastern. For Daniel, Aaron, Curtis, Tennille, Kathy, and Kathy, I'm Emil Williams Jr. We'll see you at 2 p.m. Eastern. This has been a presentation of the QubicaAMF PWBA Players Championship. You watched it live, and you watched it only on Bowl TV.
Bye.